Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on subject and predicate. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 5. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of subject and predicate. All right. So our chapter is subject and predicate. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 5. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today under the chapter of subject and predicate is to identify the complete subject or complete predicate of a sentence. That's going to be our lesson for today. All right. So when it comes to subject and predicate, right? Each sentence or every sentence has a complete subject and a complete predicate. So every sentence has a complete subject and has a complete predicate. And the complete subject, right, of a sentence, it tells us who or what is doing something. So, a complete subject, it tells us who or what is doing something. And with the subject, right, a completed subject within a sentence, it can either be one word or it can be more than one word. So the completed subject in the sentence that tells us who or what is doing something, it can either be one word or it can be more than one word. And if we look at an example, or actually if we look at a few examples, right, of either selecting the completed subject or the completed predicates within the sentence, right, then we can say it says she sleeps a lot. If we were to identify the subject within that sentence, what would it be? It says she sleeps a lot. It tells us who or what is doing something within the sentence. So, who or what is doing something within the sentence? She sleeps a lot. And if we were to select the subject of the sentence, then we will say she. What is she doing? She sleeps a lot. So, she is the subject. First, the subject. All right. So, first, the subject. So sleeping a lot, that is the predicate. So for now, we're first identifying the subject that tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. So we would say, because remember, we are saying we are first identifying the completed subject. And the completed subject within the sentence, it tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. So it's either one word or more than one word. So here it says she sleeps a lot. So now the question is who sleeps a lot? So we can say she sleeps a lot. You're welcome. If we look at the next sentence, it can either be one word or it can be more than one word. We need to say who or what is doing something. It says here, her best friend sleeps a lot. Who or what in that sentence does something? Yes. The second one, the third one is her best friend. So here we can say her best friend is the subject. In this one, we can just say her friend. Right? So well done. So the second one, we can say her friend sleeps a lot. Just her friend is the subject. And in the third one, if we were also to select the subject, then we would say her best friend is the subject because it tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. So well done. Her best friend, don't worry, her best friend over here is correct. So in the first sentence, she is our subject. In the second sentence, her friend is our subject. And in the third sentence, her best friend is our subject. That tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. The person is the subject, right? The person is the subject. That is why in the first sentence, she is our subject because she is doing something. In the second sentence, her friend is the subject because it tells us her friend is doing something. And in the third sentence, her best friend is the subject because it tells us that her best friend is doing something. That is why they said it can either be one word like she or it can be more than one word. No problem. So this is a completed subject that tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something within the sentence. And now, if we look at the predicate that tells us what the person is doing. What is the person actually doing? It says she sleeps a lot, her friend sleeps a lot, her best friend sleeps a lot. What are all of them doing? The person is the subject, yes. Because the person is doing something. So we say that the subject, it tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. So it can either be the person or if it's an animal that is doing something. That is the subject. The person is the subject, yes. So that is why it can either be we say the person does something, or we can say an animal does something, but the person or thing that does the action is the subject. All right. So do we understand? Should we explain again? So basically, once again, the person is the subject. Or if there was an animal, is the subject. And the subject, it is doing something, right? A subject, it tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. And the subject can either be one word like she, or more than one word like her friend or her best friend, right? All right. So she is the subject, her friend is the subject, her best friend is the subject. So now the question is, what are they doing? It says she sleeps a lot. Her friend sleeps a lot. Her best friend sleeps a lot. What are they doing? What is the action or the predicate that they are doing? Yes, they are sleeping, but look at the sentence. Sleeping is correct. They are sleeping is correct, but look at the sentence specifically. Because the predicate is also going to be the action and all of the other words it comes with the action. So if we look at the sentence, it says she sleeps a lot. So sleeps a lot is our predicate. Yes, so we're basically saying they are sleeping, or we can say sleeps a lot. Because you need to actually identify it from the sentence. But well done. All right. So when it comes to our completed subject, right? Each completed subject, it tells us who sleeps a lot. So each completed subject tells us who sleeps a lot. It's either she sleeps a lot, her friend sleeps a lot, or her best friend sleeps a lot. So well done. All right. So now let's go to aplusstudents.ca, and then we are going to go over a few activities and then go to our test. All right, and once again, we said that every sentence has a completed subject and it has a completed predicate, right? And our complete subject, it tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. And our subject can either be one word or our subject can be more than one word. And we identified our completed subject and we said she is a complete subject. Her friend is a complete subject. Her best friend is a complete subject. And she, a friend, and a best friend, all three of them or all of them, the complete subject tells us who sleeps a lot. All right, so now we're going to do an activity and then we're going to our test. It says we need to select the one word that makes up the complete subject. So one word that makes up the complete subject. So we need to select one word that makes up the complete subject. And if we were to select the one word that makes up a complete subject, right? Then it says Ellen served. Ellen served yesterday morning at Rincon Point. Ellen served yesterday morning at Rincon Point. What is our subject within the sentence? Ellen served yesterday morning at Rincon Point. We need to select the subject, the person, who or what is doing subject, something. All right. And if we were to select our subject, then we would say Ellen is our subject. It tells us who is doing something. Who served yesterday? It was Ellen. So Ellen is our subject. All right. Going on to the next one. The band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. So the band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. Who or what is the subject of the sentence? The subject that either tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. The subject. So the band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. We need to select our subject in that sentence that either tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. So we need to select the subject that tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. All right. So we need to select our subject. The band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. And if we were to select it, or let's say the subject, then we would say the band members. So the band members, that is our completed subject. What did the band members do? They caused confusion by arriving at the venue early. All right. The next one, we need to select the completed subject within that sentence. It says, the correspondent filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. So the correspondent filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. So we need to select the subject of that sentence that tells us either who is doing something or what is doing something. It says the correspondent filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. And if we were to select our completed subject, and then we would say the correspondent, that is our subject within that sentence. Who or what? The correspondent. What did the correspondent do? Filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. But for now, our subject is the correspondent. All right, so the correspondent is our subject. Well done. Now we're going to our test where we are going to select the completed subject. We need to select the subject within that sentence. It says, Alan served yesterday morning at Rincon Point. What is our subject? Who or what is our subject within that sentence? Is it Alan, option one, or served, option two? Alan, option one, or served, option two? So we need to select the completed subject. Is it option one, Alan, or option two, served? So we need to select the subject within that sentence, and we said it is Ellen. Yes, option one, Ellen is correct. The correspondent filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. We need to select a complete subject within that sentence. Who or what is doing something? Do we say it's option one from Somalia? And if we were to select the subject, right? Because we need to select or identify the subject. All right. So now we need to select two words that make up the complete subject. It says the correspondent filed a story from Somalia about the food shortage. We need to select the option. We need to select the subject. Is it option one, from Somalia, or option two, the correspondent? And if we were to select the subject within that sentence, then we will go with the correspondent. So the correspondent is the subject within that sentence. It says many employers issue paychecks directly into employees' bank accounts. So many employers issue paychecks directly into employees' bank accounts. So now we need to select two words that make up the complete subject. Is it many, option one, or option two, many employers, or option three, bank accounts? We need to select the subject within that sentence. Option one, many, option two, many employees, or number three, bank accounts. So it says many employers issue paychecks directly into employees' bank accounts. And we now need to select the two words that make up the complete subject. And if we choose the two words, we'll go with option two. Many employers. All right, so many employers is correct. The next one says Eve will paint in her studio this evening. Eve will paint in her studio this evening. We need to select the one word that makes up the complete subject. One word that makes up the complete subject. Is it option one, Eve? Is it option two, evening? Is it option three, studio? Which one is correct? All right. So it says Eve will paint her studio this evening. Is it option one, Eve? Is it option two, evening? Or option three, studio? We need to select this the best subject. All right. And if we were to select the one word that makes up a complete subject, and then we'll go to option one, which is Eve. And Eve is our subject that tells us who or what is doing something within our sentence, within the sentence. And Eve is correct. The band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. The band members cause confusion by arriving at the venue early. It says we need to select three words that make up the complete subject. Three words. It says the band members caused confusion by arriving at the venue early. Now we need to select the three words that make up the complete subject. Is it option one, the? Is it option two, the band members? Or is it option three, band members caused? Which one is correct? Option one, option two, or option three? And if we were to select our three words that makes up the complete subject, we'll say the band members. All right, and now we're doing the last one, and then we are done for the night. It says Charlie will elaborate on his idea later. Charlie will elaborate on his idea later. We now need to select six words that make up the complete subject. Six words. The predicate, sorry. We need to select six words that make up the complete predicate. And remember, the predicate is the action plus all the other words that shows the action that is being done. Is it option one, Charlie will elaborate on his idea, or option two, will elaborate on his idea later? We need to select the six words that make up our complete subject. All right. And if we were to select our predicate, then we will say will elaborate on his idea later. Remember, not the subject, the predicate. The predicate is basically the action that is being done. Here they say the complete predicate, right? So the predicate. So we'll go with option two. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson on subject and predicate. We see the subject in a sentence, it tells us who or what is doing the action. It can either be one word or it can be more than one word. Then the predicate within the sentence, it tells us the action that is being done. The action plus all the other words, it tells us what the subject is doing. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining the class. Thank you also for interacting. I really hope that you do have an understanding of what subject means. So thank you, everybody. You should have a good evening further. So, till next time, goodbye.